Yo, welcome back to another video. We got this video right here. This is Miss Blood in WWE. I'm just excited to see what this is about. Let's see. I don't think I do when it comes to me.
Back in July of 2008, the WWE officially banned intentional bleeding in their wrestling matches. It's been 15 long years since blood has been a part of the WWE experience. What was once a staple of big time matches, big time moments, has now been gone for over a decade and a half. And as we get older, there are generations of wrestling fans out there who weren't even alive when blood was just a normal part of the program. We live in a time now where fans have become so accustomed to wrestling without blood that there are countless people out there that just don't understand it, they don't see the need for it, that just simply don't want it. But as someone who
I don't
back in the
want it.
day was there watching when guys like Cena, Triple H, Undertaker, Shawn would bleed, as silly as it sounds, I know the importance and the magic that blood can bring to wrestling, and I gotta say, I miss blood in the WWE. Back in the day, blood was a vital part of the company. Post 97, if there was ever a big feud, a big match, wrestlers would be running that razor for the culture. It was used as a tool, a tool to elevate the match, to elevate the feud, to make everything you were watching feel just a little bit more real. And as a viewer, especially as someone who was a kid during the time, blood was what signaled to me that shit was going down. When Triple H pulled up to a match and was busted wide open and Jim Ross was screaming in the background, you had no choice but to be invested. You had no choice to believe what you were watching was epic, and you knew that this wasn't just another match. Blood brought a sense of danger to the WWE. It made it feel more real, more raw, more gritty, and so many moments and matches were elevated because of it, and so many stars were made with it. The most iconic example being, of course, Austin passing out at WrestleMania in the sharpshooter with blood pouring down his face as he refused to give up. This was the moment where every single person became an Austin fan. This was the moment where Austin arrived and won over every single fan. Austin, who walked into the match as a heel, was leaving as the face because despite him bleeding everywhere, he did not give up. Was Austin going to be a star regardless? Of course he was. But that visual made this iconic. And as we know, nothing makes someone a bigger star in sports in general than overcoming adversity. Whether it's coming back after being down 3-1 in a series, whether it's coming back from an injury and making a legendary comeback, it's the same in wrestling, and blood is one of those tools that creates adversity. I'll never forget being young and seeing Cena and JBL kill each other in that I Quit match, and Cena was bleeding everywhere, and I was scared. I was actually scared that he was going to lose, that there was no way in hell he was going to survive. He took way too much damage. Same thing when he took on Umaga in 07, but when he did win, when he did come clutch, and you saw that visual of him standing tall with the blood all over him holding the title, it was the coldest shit ever. It was moments like that that made him a bigger legend in my eyes. It was moments like that that made me care that much more. When Triple H and Shawn had that last man standing match and both men couldn't make the 10 count, it worked because you could see they were dead and they gave it their all. There was no way they could get up. Or how about when HBK at Survivor Series 03 almost clutched a 1v3 but at the end couldn't get the job done. Him being drenched in his own blood made you feel 10 times more sympathy than you would have otherwise because the blood made you care that much more. For
I
me
don't know about
personally,
that.
blood was such a fun part of the WWE growing up. It made so many moments so much more epic, it just made you care at the end of the day. And like, yo, to this day, it's the same thing because what's the first thing I do when I get a new wrestling game? I turn on the blood. Now I agree, they definitely began using blood a little too much in the mid 2000s, I agree. And nobody wants to see anything like Eddie in 2004 go full Passion of Christ mode ever again. We don't want that. We don't want to see anybody recreate the movie Carrie. But yo, imagine if we had blood back just a little bit. Over the past few years, we have gotten our fair share of blood with AEW. While the WWE has ignored blood for mostly 15 years, AEW has embraced it for the last 4 years to say the least. AEW, in my opinion, uses blood way too often and way too much, but when done right, such as they did with MJF vs Punk, Yuta vs Moxley, Cody and Dustin, Omega and Ospreay, it's still magic. And seeing it done right in AEW is what makes me wish we could have it in the WWE. I'm not saying they should use it often, I'm not saying that every big feud needs it, but when the time is right, once a year, twice a year, whenever it's called for, whenever it fits the story, you gotta let it happen. When Brock and Cody had their match at SummerSlam, you're telling me that Brock destroying Cody, eventually busting him wide open, and then Cody coming back and against all odds winning, wouldn't have made that match and moment feel more special? Once again, I'm not saying there should be a quota, I'm not saying it should happen for every personal storyline, but let's be real here, you know it adds so much to the world of wrestling. And the thing is, the company knows this too. When Brock Lesnar came back in 2012, of course they had Cena bleed to make Brock Lesnar look like a demon. When the company wanted to get Brock over even more of a monster, of course they had him bust open Randy the hard way. What helped launch Becky Lynch into superstardom? Her turning heel at SummerSlam for sure, but when she got her nose broken on Raw and was still talking shit, that was the moment where she went viral and became a top star. The company knows this, that's why they had Roman bleed at WrestleMania 34 and had him lose to give him that sympathy and hopefully get him over by recreating Austin at Mania. But sadly, nothing was gonna get Roman over back in 2018, not even bleeding.
Ready to take your
Yeah.
business to the next level? Scale it with the commerce platform made for entrepreneurs.
I don't know why
Shopify
they
is
hated him
specially
back
designed to help you.
I like them.
I'm just
I
saying,
like
the
them
company
all
still
the
loves
way
to do
since
violence. How many
2015.
times do we have to see wrestlers get abused with sticks and chairs, so much so that their back is all torn up and they have marks everywhere, and sometimes it looks absolutely disgusting. Why is that okay, but not a little bit of blood? So you can't say the sponsor thing when, one, they've done blood in the past 15 years, and they still do all these other acts of violence. What made Cody versus Seth in the Hell in a Cell so iconic? The disgusting injury that Cody had, the adversity, him overcoming that and still winning and putting on a show, that made him a legend, and it's the same principle. I'm not saying go full AEW mode and start bleeding into each other's mouths or anything like that, but keep it in your back pocket so when the moment calls for it, you do it, and you do it a little bit more often. And yo, it's funny because it's like if Brock Lesnar wants blood in his match, yo, ain't nobody stopping him. Shout out to Shelton Benjamin. But if anybody else does it, hell no, zero tolerance, not happening, not allowed, which I don't get. Is Brock Lesnar the only one that's certified in the blood department or something? Let the rest of the
I
roster
say
shine
Brock
too
Lesnar,
every
Roman
now and then.
Reigns,
A month ago, I
Triple
tweeted after the
H.
Texas Deathmatch at Full Gear that I hope Cody bleeds at War Games for the
That's
culture. Because in my eyes, it was like, how
Oh,
epic
probably
would that
Cody
be?
Rhodes as well.
Cody Rhodes bleeding in War Games,
CM
the
Punk.
match his father created, the match that was once known for its blood, known for being one of the bloodiest matches in wrestling. Like, yo, there's a reason why the DVD for that match was called War Games, WCW's most notorious matches. And I was just thinking of how epic the visual would be of Cody despite all the violence coming clutch and standing tall at War Games with some blood on him. Just a random thought. And this random guy replies to me on Twitter and he calls me a weirdo. This guy calls me a weirdo for wanting blood in wrestling. Blood in wrestling. What has society come to? Guys, are we
It's kinda
forgetting
weird.
what we're watching? What this is supposed to be? This blew
Bro,
my
that's the
mind
kids
and
to
really
wipe
put
my
into
blood.
perspective how far removed we are from
I
2008.
can just
Because
see
to
all the
me,
kids
blood in
and like,
wrestling
is he
it's
okay?
a no-brainer, but apparently not. I think people have forgotten we are watching people simulate a fight, simulate violence.
Also,
This isn't just an aerobics
Roman
gymnastic
Reigns
display.
just
Pro
carrying
wrestling
somebody
was
by the
made
hair
with
while they
violence. Pro
bleeding.
wrestling, no matter how
I don't
much you
know,
try
that
to get
feels
away from
weird.
it, at the end of the day, this is violence at the core. That is the reason why everyone became a fan. So I think a little blood isn't the end of the world. But yeah, I still can't believe I got called a weirdo for wanting blood in wrestling. Like, guys, this is not ballet, folks. I sound like Jim Ross in 2006. But yo, it's fine. I think deep down Triple H knows what's right for business. This motherfucker used to be bleeding every single month on pay-per-view back in the 2000s. He knows what's right for business. I just miss blood in the WWE. I don't want it every week. I don't want it every month. Shit, I don't even need it every year. But man, I would love if every now and then when the stars align, when the storyline calls for it, when the lights are on bright and shit is going down, when it's a Hell in a Cell match or a chamber match, when someone is up against all the odds, we go back to the old days. Just a little bit. Is that too much to ask for? A man can only dream. I miss blood in the WWE. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Am I spitting or am I just, out here out of touch? Is this a boomer take? Is blood just not needed in wrestling anymore and I'm the one who's tripping? Let me know down below. And also down below, let me know when you think of blood in wrestling, what is the match that comes to your head? What is your favorite match that includes blood in wrestling history? For me,
I'll probably say Undertaker versus Batista. I think it was a Hell in a Cell, or yeah, Hell in a Cell. I'm gonna say it's still Cage. Like,